cold Wiltshire as we approach winter. And good afternoon to yourself. And just a moment, and Donald, where are you today? Or where do you live, actually?
I'm in Crusoe, and that's in southern Denmark, and it is also very cold here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It is. With everything that we've got to put with, the weather just adds on top of that. But be that as it may, we're here today to talk about live business video. Now, you started your journey on Google Hangouts and Hangouts on Air.
yeah, that was where I got my start. Like I said, I was just basically getting a conversation with a friend of mine in Australia. We were talking about real estate, and we were talking about him moving to a different location. And then one day, I just out of the blue, he rang me with a Hangout on Air. So my computer was making a funny noise that I'd never heard before. And basically, I thought, what's this? And I clicked on that little button, and we were live on a HOA. And he was in Australia, and I was in Denmark. And I thought, this is very impressive that we can talk face to face for free, and we're halfway around the world. You know, it's pretty cool little device. So that was where it opened up for me, and I started with a show called Show and Tell, Hangouts on Air. And then once blab.im opened up, I basically switched my whole process over there, and I started a show called blab.cafe.
Yep.
And the reason I did that was basically to do the same thing that I was doing with Show and Tell, and that was to give people a place to share their content and their products and talk about their businesses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I just made a few changes on Facebook so that more people can see us. Yeah,
modifying on the fly.
that was a game changer, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a big game changer because it had the things that Google didn't have, which were it had the connectivity to Twitter, it had the what do you call it? Searchability, or not searchability?
Discoverability.
Yeah, discoverability. Yeah, because their landing page was so laid out in such a way that you could just scroll down a whole range of content and find out what you wanted to take a look at. And it was hit and miss there for a while. You know, you could find some people basically just hanging out and really not talking about business or anything. They're just talking about personal stuff. But then there was a big group of marketers that I noticed that started, flooding into that platform. And when that started happening, I thought, well, this is pretty exciting. I mean, for those people that are involved with business on a daily basis, it's great to have those kind of tools and those kind of networks, because like I said, you can be halfway around the world from someone and have something in common, and you can really kind of get some problem solving going very quickly.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's what we found as well, that people were willing to work together.
yeah. And I've met some people in Edinburgh, different parts of Scotland, different parts of the UK, since starting on blab.im. And then I felt like I just wanted to continue. So because I bought that name, that domain name, blab.cafe, I just continued using it. And people were saying, well, why are you continuing to use a name like Blab? Because it's not relevant to anything that people know. And I said, there's not a lot of people that knew about blab.im as a platform. So as a name, as a domain name, it's okay, because it's just like taking a word out of the dictionary and saying, I'm going to use that as my domain name. And so I'm just going to continue using it because it's gotten a little bit of notoriety so far.
Yeah. But I mean, blab is a verb anyway. I mean, we run the show on Thursdays, Blabbing for Britain, and that's week 52 this week. And and just we've got contact from Peter Stewart, you may know, who's saying hello from his bath, which hopefully is a joke. And Blab is a good name. Yeah, because I got Stephen on Blab as well. And Bob Tomlin used to say that I shouldn't have it. So I've changed it now to Stephen on Video. But Blabbing for Britain still works. So now we're looking around at platforms, aren't we?
Yeah.
Looking at different platforms.
That's one of the things too. I mean, when I find something that works, I just grab it and I use it. Like like we're talking about Manicam, and Manicam is just a third-party app that allows me to, show graphics and pieces of media, and I could stream video from where I'm sitting right now. So that's a tool that I like to use. And I mean, you are pretty, you're preferring this particular platform called BeLive TV. And I found another one that's called smiletime.com.
Mm-hmm.
And for what I'm doing, when I'm doing the one-on-one interviews, it just seems to work okay for me because it allows me to bring up comments on screen. It allows me to pull graphics up on screen and logos and things like that. So for my purposes, it basically has checked all the boxes for me.
Yeah, but we are lucky to have a choice.
Yeah.
We can come on here for free on BeLive, we can go on SmileTime for free.
Yeah.
BeLive
is that with WebRTC, all of these companies that are basically building these platforms, that we're going to see a huge delusion of people going to all these different locations and trying to figure out which one they like the best.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's certain demographics that you'll find forming on certain platforms already. Just like, what is it? YouNow? It seems like it's a very young demographic.
Yeah.
A lot of young kids on that particular platform.
I went on YouNow and I thought, hang on a minute. I was young once. But, yeah. Totally different demographic, as you say. I'm looking forward to interviewing Daniel Meyer, who's the CEO of BeLive, either this week or next week, and we'll find out what plans they have. Because both SmileTime and BeLive are actually, they've not finished. We're in at the beginning, and they're expanding the range of services that they can provide. But I'm grateful that the BeLive has got the integrated two-way Facebook comments, and I can just comment here, and I can send a comment which will appear on Facebook. So to everybody who's watching us, thank you, and just checking out. Okay, so I don't need to go to the Facebook page. I can type in, and the post that I post here will go onto Facebook. So as well as answering any questions that come in, I just prove that I can post from here. Yeah. So that was posted from within the BeLive page. Right now, let's get into brass tacks, as we say in the UK, and we're going to talk about business video, or use of business video, and I'm genuinely interested in your take on this. Are companies making enough use of business video, live video?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. The reason I say that is because most people, when they think of video content, they think of it something as you can go in and do it one time and one time only, and you post it to YouTube and you just let it sit there.
Yep.
And in fact, because these big, huge platforms like Facebook and YouTube are basically, they've got an open door policy. They're saying, okay, just send us all your content, and the fresher the better. That's what they're looking for, because when it's fresh content, it gets ranked, it gets what's the other word for it, indexed. So
yes.
You're basically coming up with the date that you're inputting it, and everything else, that's all indexed. So what happens is you might be thinking about some content that you're thinking, well, this is really good content, it was a really good video, but that might not be the end of the game. You might want to go in there and just update it pretty regularly, because what happens is they are indexing it based on the date, based on your tags, based on all of this metadata. And so it's a really good idea to go in there and constantly update your content. And for the purposes of just showing some graphics, which I really don't care to do, but this is kind of give you an idea of just the number. The top blue bar is content that is consumed. What does that say? Visually.
Okay.
So that is basically what is happening. Is that's a really common thing across all platforms. That video and even photographs, video and photographs are the most commonly consumed content. Here we go with this graphic. This graphic says, what is it, 94%.
Yeah.
94% more total views. Content with visual aids. Well, visual means that it could be video, and it could be a graphic, or it could be some kind of a photograph. 90% of the brain, the information sent to the brain,
Yep.
is sent via visual. So it's basically your brain is absorbing a lot of content visually. It's how we were designed. Here's one other graphic I just want to bring up.
Okay.
74% commonly used types of content, 74% is visual. Next is blogging at 68%. 60% videos. Live video is 14%. So that's the number that we're facing right now.
Yeah.
And the reason that that is a low number is because you have to have the connection between the person that's actually broadcasting and the broadcaster.
Okay.
And the viewer. So you have to make that connection, and that's the hardest thing. Back in the 50s and the 60s, when you only had a few channels on the TV, you knew that people's butts were going to be in their seats at a certain time of day because they wanted to watch their favorite show, and there wasn't all the options that you have today. So now you have to give people the content that they want, and you want to try to find the time that they are going to be there to consume that content. If you want to get them on a live, in a live situation.
Yeah.
But the live thing now that we can do that they couldn't do, in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s and 80s, is we can actually respond to a person's comment as we're going.
Yeah.
So that's something that's I don't know. You watched Dick Cavett or Johnny Carson. I don't know if you got those shows in the UK.
We had our own equivalents, but carry on.
Yeah. Well, I try to use the analogy that, say, for example, that there was some guest up on the stage, maybe at the David Letterman show. Maybe it was an older Raquel Welch. She might have been on stage with David Letterman. Well, the whole audience could have then maybe gave a comment saying, what was your favorite part of that movie, such and such? And David Letterman could actually see all of those comments and pull one of them up onto the screen and say, oh, by the way, what was your favorite part of this movie? And that's what we can do where he couldn't. So I think it's really exciting.
True. I mean, what you're actually doing is turning viewers into participants, isn't it?
Yep.
So it's not a passive sit down and watch the box. It's, can I get involved? Do I have questions? Do the people who are actually broadcasting have the answers to them? And can I make new contacts? The other thing that comes across to me is that this is a great form of networking, meeting people.
Right. Yeah, that's a big, huge thing for me too, because I'm meeting people from Turkey and Denmark and Germany and just any country and every country under the sun. And that to me is the most exciting.
Yeah, I mean, since the Blab days, the last 18 months, I've made lots of contacts in the United States, such that now 50% of the people who watch the shows that I do are from the States and 50% from the UK, which is good. Now, the other thing that we're talking about video, but we started off with people, you had to create content. That was the mantra. If you want to get known, don't advertise, create content. What's your take on using live video to create content?
Well, I like it because I can do a number of things that just because I know how to, I'm pretty much self-taught. But like, for example, I have a friend who has a pizza place. And what I did for him is I went down and I took some still photos, still images of some of the pizzas, some of the products that he had, and then some of our surrounding areas. And I stitched together a still image video and I uploaded it to Google for him to his, on Google Maps. If you go into Google Maps, you can actually click on the video and let it play, and you'll see some of the pizzas that are on his menu. And so that was a very simple project. But what I can also do is I can take my laptop with the web camera and I can go down there and I can set it up and I can stream live from their kitchen while they're making pizzas. And that's another thing where it opens up a whole different ball of wax, because that you've got people that are the actual customers to a brick and mortar business able to interact with the owner of the restaurant. That to me is exciting.
It is exciting because there's so many different ways that we can use this. I mean, when I first saw the Be Live and the interaction, I thought, well, if you're an estate agent, yeah, let's take a realtor or an estate agent. If you've got a series of properties that you want people to see, then on your business profile page on Facebook, you could go live and you could show the properties for 15 minutes and you can take questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things why I want people to start to understand that when you are using a tool like one of these platforms that you and I are using, that they should also add other tools, because just trying to get kind of like comfortable using other tools and try to wrap your head around the idea that a lot of the tools are designed to work via drag and drop. So you're basically just dragging and dropping different images or, content you're dragging onto the screen. So I'll give you an example of that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just trying to find a piece of content.
Right. No,
here's
one. At all. Right. Okay. This is live video.
Yeah. So basically, that's what I'm talking about. So that's somebody's product that I know.
Yep.
She actually has those are being handmade in Turkey. But at the same time, I could have shown, I don't know, any kind of product. I could have showed one of my products. I could have showed anything. And while you're talking about it, the people in the audience can ask me questions about it, and I can answer them real time. And that's something that you just can't do when you just go down and you sit and you make a video. Standalone video offline.
I've got frozen at the moment. Okay,
but I don't pay attention to that, because what happens in 99% of the time is if you are frozen at any point in time during your broadcast, it's not frozen in the recording. And I found that out the hard way, because I've basically went and refreshed and I realized that, hey, it just kept on going. Even though I was seeing a frozen picture, it was still recording. So
yeah, I know. Right, now we have a question, and the question's from Peter, and Peter is a friend of mine, and we're on Blogging for Britain every Thursday at 10 o'clock, advert out the way. And his question is, what tools are you suggesting that people look at?
Well, the one that I use most of the time is ManyCam, and that's spelled ManyCam. One of the things that I noticed that was happening on Google Plus Hangouts on Air, where there were people there that were basically trying to give lessons and tutorials on how to use the platform. And what I noticed right away, that when I went in and looked at some of these particular tutorials, they were making the platforms more confusing than they were. So now that they've added more WebRTC, companies that are adopting WebRTC, these companies are making tools that are just so simple to use. So if you have a difficulty with technology or anything else, 99% of the time now, you can basically find a video tutorial that will help you get over those rough spots.
That's very true. I mean, if we talk of ManyCam and vMix, there are a lot of videos on YouTube which have been made to help you use it. But ManyCam is fairly straightforward, isn't it? Can you explain essentially what ManyCam can do?
ManyCam is a third-party app that is basically running in the background, and it's designed basically to bring media onto your screen. So your media could be video content. It could be, you might be able to share a link to something live. I could open up pages, and I can do a lot of things right here on the show, but we don't have time to go through all those different features. But what I could do is tell you that it's something that you can find out more about on ManyCam.com. and they have a free version, and they also have a couple of different paid versions. So
yeah. I mean, I bought Manicam when my PC was, let's just say, underpowered. And now that I've got a more powerful PC, so not a Ninja PC, just an ordinary everyday PC, you can get Manicam. You can install it on PC. There is an equivalent on Mac as well, I think. And you can then, as Daniel said, you can actually then swap over. You can swap over screens. Can you just give an example with the graphics, as you did a moment ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's one. So that is done with Manicam. So instead of certain tools, certain platforms have the capability of doing certain things like this. This is just something I'm doing with Manicam.
Yep.
There's that little cow.
Yep. And I can
so
go on
if I needed
too.
to add,
So
if I needed to add a video,
switch out from our video and back to a graphic which we've preloaded onto the system. And as Don said a moment ago, we can actually, Don said a moment ago, we can actually play videos on here as well. So if you want to play a snippet of a YouTube video, you can, can't you? Quite easily.
Yeah. See, so that's one of the capabilities of Manicam. So if you needed to, for example, if you uploaded a video to YouTube and it was say it was a tutorial or something like that, you could go to YouTube, grab the URL to a specific video, and then bring it up into your Manicam and play it live. So that's really handy when you're trying to do some kind of an additional tutorial. So you can have people live. Or you could do something like this. Say, for example, you wanted to show a piece of real estate. You could actually bring different parts of the house up onto the screen. And if a person had a question about that, you could actually answer that question right on the spot. So that's one of the reasons why you want to use a third-party app.
Yeah, that's just brilliant, Donald, because it's bringing the interaction, it's making greater interaction because you're actually able to use pre-prepared articles and bring them on screen and explain all about them.
Right.
Which is good.
It's very useful.
Right. Okay. Now the other area I thought about, the people that can make use of this is tour companies and travel agents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend, Peter, who's into whitewater rafting, and this is tailor-made for him. That sort of thing.
Yeah, because there's a great example, because you could take a video from what you would call an offline video that you're out filming maybe with a little small GoPro camera or something, and then bring it in and show it, and then people could ask questions and do that live as well. The thing I've noticed that a friend of mine does when it comes to travel is he is setting up cameras that are called IP cameras. And those are exterior cameras that are set up in a location where there's a lot of foot traffic and stuff. And the reason he does that is because it draws people to that location. And he has a website where people can go to roam. You can go to the beaches of Tahiti or whatever. And it's just all around the world. He's got these really beautiful settings. But the people who are sponsoring the cameras are the hotel owners. So he has a customer there in the hotel owner, and then he has a customer in the viewer. So he says it's really amazing the amount of interaction that he gets from people that are just wanting to see more and more of these videos.
Indeed. And I just, as we are live on Facebook, I'd just like to say hello to Daniel for joining us, Mike, Kaveh, and I think it's Emel Ole. If I mispronounced it, Emel, you can tell me. If you want to join in on this, which you can, then if you type a message on Facebook, Donald and I will see you live on BeLive.tv, and we can answer your questions. We're talking about using business in live video in business, and we're pioneers. This is just the beginning, isn't it, Donald?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's just growing all the time. I think that's one of the things going to happen too, is there's going to be a group of people that are just going to feel really comfortable about getting on these different platforms. I see I think that's the old rule of thumb, isn't it? That there's like something like 99% of the people will not go on video camera, and there's just that 1% that will. So, hi, Kelvin.
Yeah. Hello, Kelvin. Nice to see you. And it's good of you to make a comment. Kelvin just made a comment on Facebook. We can see the comment here, and I can then bring it up on screen. Now, there's a point I want to make about this, that we will have, Donald and I will have a recording of this show. And if you comment now, your comment will forever be in the YouTube video that comes out of this show. So if you want some free advertising for yourself or your cause or your business, then please drop a comment in the comment box on Facebook, just down below the video, and we'll bring it up on screen and show it, because we are here to help you to get known in video and in business. And coming back to the thing that you just said, Don, which was about the 1% being willing to come on video. Yeah. This is it's a hurdle we've got to cross, isn't it? And groups sort of apps like Appearing can help with that, can't they?
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is when you get into a private group where you feel comfortable with a handful of people, maybe you got 4 or 5 people that become your really good friends, one way or another, because maybe you're just doing different types of chat rooms or something like that, and you really want to know what the person looks like, what their character is. That's where this face-to-face is really, really important. And you have to feel like, I think the viewer has to feel like they can actually trust you, and that they believe in what you're going after, when they're communicating with you. So if you can look you in the eye and say something like hello, how are you, and you could get a real-time response, I think that's important.
Right, and this is our first advert today, and this is from Kelvin, and in the new year he's looking to promote his freelance photography. And this is an ideal medium to do it, because Kelvin we've known from the Blab days, and he runs the Appearing groups. And I'm just going to hide Kelvin's, because we've woken people up now. Comment from Peter. I'm just trying to read that. I need a contact for loading Turkey. I need things like that. Oh, right. Okay. That's networking.
That's the kind of business context that I make in Blab Cafe as well, because that's what has happened in the past. Most people don't realize they'll get on these different types of platforms and they will talk ad nauseum about these different topics, but they are forgetting to share their links.
Yeah.
And the links sharing is the most important of all of this, because if you just sitting there going blah, 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 and you're not sharing the links to your business products and services, you're not going to be taking advantage of being on video in the first place. So I think that's what people need to remember, that even though this is fun and it could be a good hobby, but it can also be something that you could use directly for your business, and it's not that difficult, because you can see that a person there could be wanting to use contact information to a person who's living in Turkey.
And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? I mean, the networking side, we sometimes forget, but it's there. And what we're actually doing is connecting with people. And you connect with customers, potential customers, friends, contacts, all through this one medium of being on video. And as we've just been discussing, you can practice first. You don't have to say, right, I'm going to do a video today, because I'm going to come on to this in a moment, but you can practice in private. If you go to a site called
Appearing,
scrolling, I'm just going to put it on the screen.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I like about Appearing is that you've got a nice crisp platform where you've got nice, good audio and video, but it's also as private as you want it to be. So you can be in a private room because you're only sharing the links with the people that you want to share them with. So in that regard, it's not a public platform. It is more of a private platform. And that's really handy. It's similar to Skype in some ways, but it's also just really, really easy to use. And you can use it with almost every device. And yeah. all
Android.
different types of browsers, and so
Brilliant.
pretty
It's a
handy.
very, very well thought out product. And just to say that there are two versions now. There's the free version, and there's also the pro version as well, if you want up to 12 people in your group. So if you're thinking of even company meetings where you spread out across the world, then appearing allows 12 people to come in on screen together and talk and to chat and to exchange files. The whole thing, isn't it? It's the real deal.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what people should do, is keep an open mind to different platforms, because the fact that there were the standards were, places like Skype and, those kind of tools are still there, and they're still available, and they're still working pretty well. But there are new upcoming tools that are just really kicking butt when it comes to the quality and the reach and the connectability.
I totally agree. Now, we said the reach and the connectability. Facebook Live is where, do you think that's where the action is?
Yeah, that one graphic was showing that basically Facebook is dominating all other platforms. The reason that Facebook is dominating all other platforms is because Facebook was the big monster that just swallowed up all of the people that wanted to be communicating with their families and friends. Yeah. And that's what Facebook became, is the big family and friend communicator. So as tools go, it's probably one of the easiest to use, because you can get in there and you can look around and see who's sending you different comments, who's what kind of notifications you're getting daily. But when video content goes there, in my opinion, it's nice to send it to Facebook using a tool like this, Be Live or Smile Time or one of the other tools. There's only a handful that are really doing it well, sending content to the Facebook platform. And I think that that's going to be the future.
I totally agree. I mean, we had stats the other week that 20% of Facebook users are actually watching live video. Not necessarily you and I, but they're actually watching live video. And
right.
that equates to 340 million people. And that's from a standing start. I mean, Facebook Live a year ago was in its infancy. So it's come a long way. And more people are going to watch video, aren't they? Live video.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's more entertaining than TV.
And that's something, too, you got to remember, that when you go into Facebook and you look at your site, regardless of where it is, what kind of page you have set up, you might even have a business page set up. That's another good plus. They have that flexibility that they can allow you multiple pages, but to get that to be shared on as many places as you can, it's good to go into it and make sure that you have it set for public viewing. Yeah. So it's not just like keeping it down. And I don't know if you agree with me, but webinars is something from the days when I remember when I was doing Google Plus Hangouts on air, there were a few people that were setting up these webinars.
Yeah.
And for me, it was kind of like a slap in the face to be wanting to go to an event where you saw some of your friends being, invited to, and then you would be asked to pay for a ticket to this webinar. And I thought, well, this is kind of ridiculous, because this content I can find just about anywhere on the internet, but it includes some of my friends. So do I want to pay the $7 or $10 to go and attend? And in that case, I don't know. I think that this content it's new, and it's nice to just be able to have an open door policy. And that's why I like to keep it as easy as possible to find the content.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the webinar equates to you're going to be sold to. Somebody's going to try and sell you something. At the end of it, there's going to be a very special offer that you can't resist, that runs out at midnight. And the pitch, it's all about the pitch now. Along the way, you might learn things, but you're being sold to. With video chat, it turns out on its head, because we're talking to each other now quite freely.
Right.
And people can watch. There's no gig. There's no... It's free, and we're exchanging this knowledge because we enjoy the medium. We enjoy being on video. Yeah.
Yep. I enjoy it. I mean, I've met some really cool people around the world. One thing I will say that you have a book that's actually been written about all of this, right? Because I've noticed it in a couple of places. I haven't ordered it yet, but I know that you do have an Amazon page. Is that right?
There it is. We can only see part of it. We can see it all ourselves.
That's unreadable, even
If
on the big
I
screen.
know, but you get the gist. If you look out for the purple, you'll see it. If you go, just give me a second.
What you can do is just take the link to the page and then post that into your chat bar.
Yeah.
Then that way it'll go out with the video.
Yeah.
That's one of the things why when I went over to Smile Time, that was one of the first things that I asked the developers to do, was to make sure that at some point in time that they can make all of the links clickable, because it's much more convenient for viewers and for myself to actually go and open a person's page and look at it and see, well, what's going on here? What kind of website do you have? What, how much effort have you put into your business?
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm just taking the opportunity to, as you've been very kind, I'll just comment and post it on the screen as well. If anybody would like to go to Amazon and take a look at the book, you just type in live video streaming. And my co-author Fraser has made sure that live video streaming will lead you direct to our book. Yeah, no, I mean, be fair on this. Right, we saw earlier something which you said, this is what I do. Can you explain a little bit more about that, please? Not the video, something you make.
Oh yeah, that's just something that I'm working on now. As a matter of fact, when I got home from work today, which is the second type of job that I have, it's something totally unrelated to this. I noticed that my molds for my product that's going to be for the phone holder, they came out really good. This is what you would call RTV silicone, and it's really, really tough and rugged. And this is actually an outer mold for a part that I'm making, actually 3 parts. So you've got 1 cavity, 2 cavities, and 3 cavities. So, but yeah, this is going to be the part that is going to be the selling point for that product, because it mounts to your mobile phone.
Okay.
I can give you an idea what it'll look like. Sure. It mounts to the back side of your mobile phone. So basically what it is it's a different type of a holding system to not interfere with your screen or the backside lens. Right. So if you're doing forward-facing video, you can use it, or if you're doing reverse-facing video, you can do it. And you can have it in the portrait mode or landscape mode. And it'll be pretty nice to see how people adopt this.
Yeah. I wish you every success. And let's get together, and when you have the product, we'll talk about it. In the show we'll do next time. If you're watching live on Facebook at the moment, thank you. If you have any questions or comments for myself and Donald, then please put them in the box, and we'll do our best to answer them. But we're both proponents of 2017 being the year of live business video.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I really think that the most important thing, I've given this analogy before, and I'll say this before we go. My brother was a plumbing contractor when I was growing up. And I remember him spending a very huge amount of money during the weeks that he was looking to advertise. And it was invariably on these little leaflet type newspapers. And it was a little tiny ad about this big. And he'd have to pay like $150 per week per ad for this one geographic location that I thought, well, that's kind of small. And he says, well, this is the area that he wants to cover. And I said, well, you could, and I thought, well, now you can do that with Facebook advertising, Google Plus or Google AdSense, and you can take your video and make it advertised just right in a specific area if you want to do that, or you can go worldwide. So for people that are thinking about doing any kind of advertising, if you're not doing some kind of video advertising, you're missing a free location to send your content out. And even if you spent a couple, like $10 or $12, you would be amazed what $10 will do. I got 2,000 views of one video on a $10 investment. So you just have to keep in mind that these companies want to help you. You know, Google and Facebook, they want to help you. And so do I.
It's a win-win, isn't it? If you win, they win. It's win-win.
Sorry.
If you win, they win.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because then they'll come back and they'll use your service again, you know, and that's what Google and Facebook is counting on.
Yep. It's all about repeat business. Well, Don, it's been a pleasure talking.
Yeah, I had a fun time.
With Joe, we're brilliant. Shall we come back next month on your platform of choice?
Yeah, that would be great. I do use, like I said, I am right now. You're going to have to do some more convincing.
Okay, well, I'll work on that.
Twist my arm.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing six chats on BeLive.tv over the next week, and hopefully finishing off with a chat with the CEO. And in that chat, he's going to tell us what they have lined up in the future. So we'll see. I mean, the thing about all the platforms we're using at the moment, we're in at the beginning. They are expanding, they are improving, and you know, we're just lucky, really. Right place, right time.
Yeah, I mean, if you can deal with the few little glitches that come up from time to time, and you just have some patience, you'll get over those little stumbling blocks, and you'll have fun too.
Right. Yeah. This is your if you're watching on Facebook, this is your last chance for fame. If you want us to feature your comment in the recording, type a comment in Facebook now. It will be in recording on YouTube. It's free advertising for you. If you've got a question for Donald or myself, then please ask it. But we've enjoyed your company today, and as we've just agreed, we'll be back in December, and we'll explore this topic and other topics further because we've enjoyed ourselves today, which is what live video is about.
Yes. Yeah. If you want me to, I can share that link for.
Oh, yes, surely.
My,
yeah, if you would.
And I think that one of the things that people are going to find really quickly is that they're going to feel comfortable using one tool or another. I mean, you know that there are people that are using Periscope in really interesting ways as well. And like I've said many times, that's never been my platform of choice because I would much rather see a static video, because this moving around business has just never been something, it's never been my cup of tea. So I think that's important for most people to understand. There are tools, and you got to remember, you got to do what your customers really want you to do. You know, you got to be where your customers are. So if they're there, then use it.
Indeed. And just a reminder from Peter for the turkey link as it's coming up to Christmas. And Don, thank you. It's just been posted there. It's shown that it's on the chat on Facebook. So you click that link. And also, what I'd suggest, because we are networking, is if you're not connected with Donald at the moment, send a friend request, yeah?
Yeah.
It's either friends or friends of friends, so we're pretty safe in that regard. Right, okay.
Thanks for having me on, Stephen.
You're most welcome. I look forward to chatting again next month. Take care, everybody, and we will see you live on video, either in the Blab Cafe or on my Facebook profile this week, or on Donald's Facebook profile. Follow us both. And get involved in business video, because this is where we're going to be in 2017. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.